Hey y'all, it's Jo. Hey my friends. I wanted to get on here today and tell y'all about a very special place and some very special friends I have. There is a camp in Florida called Boggy Creek. If you have not heard of it yet, I'm sure you have if you are in the same crochet circles I'm in. But yeah, so it's a very special camp in Florida started by Paul Newman. It's a camp for children with disabilities and or illnesses, chronic diseases. It's a camp for these kids to get away from it all for 1 week. And they get to, it's an overnight camp and they do such great things there. Anyway, everything will be linked down below. Y'all know that. So I have some very, very special friends in this crochet community who work their tails off. They did this last year and now they're at it again. They are doing crochet blanket drives. So our friend Nancy over at She's Got Yarn Too, her mother Sue is has been involved with doing volunteer stuff for Boggy Creek for quite a while. And she asked Nancy last year if she could make, a couple of blankets, crochet blankets. And Nancy says, well, sure, I'll ask my friend Lynette. And that would be Lynette over at Charm Grammy Crochet. And Lynette says, well, why don't we take this to our friends? We could get a lot more. And then they went to our friend Billie over at the Crafty Floridian. And Billie says, oh, yes, we've got to do something to help these kids. So the three of them got together and they started this blanket drive last year. And they delivered the blankets, I believe, was it after Christmas? It might have been in January. I was very busy with my mother during that time. But anyway, so they're at it again. They're starting their blanket drive again, and they will deliver the blankets after Christmas. So last year, I think I've heard numbers from like 360 to 380, somewhere along there. They had over 350 blankets donated that they brought and delivered to Boggy Creek Camp, and the staff there was so excited. And they have videos of that too. And they're at it again, y'all. So on Wednesdays, they try to hold a YouTube live over at Billie the Crafty Floridian's channel. And Nancy will unbox some of the blankets that she has received. She does get boxes of blankets, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. Our community really pulls together. But don't, I want to say, don't feel bad if you just want to send in one blanket, because I don't really have time to make boxes full of blankets either. So it's okay. Everyone counts, right? And even a granny square counts. And this is what I wanted to bring up to you next, was our friend LYNANNE over at Nina's Knots Crochet. She wanted to help out because she lives down in Florida too. And she wanted to help out in some way that she could contribute. And she said, well, I know not everyone can make a whole blanket and mail a whole blanket because it's very costly. So she put out there into the world that if you wanted to be a part of the Boggy Creek blanket drive, you could send her one granny square. Just because that's really easy to make, not expensive, and it's not expensive to fold it up and stick it in an envelope and mail it to her. So she wanted, if you wanted to be a part of a Boggy Creek blanket, she wanted to make sure you could do that. So she is asking for 5-inch granny squares. Now they don't have to be, let me just grab this one. It doesn't have to be just a granny square. It can be a 5-inch square, however you make it. It can be different stitches. It can be a design. It can be knitted, just 5 inches. That way they're all uniform for her to sew them together to make blankets with. So that's what she would like to do. Now I did start making some squares, and I was just making, like these are all just plain granny squares in various colors. When I was working on my Scrappy Granny ripple blanket, I would just make a square when I could. So I have a stack of squares, and then I started saying, well, maybe I'll make a little design in a square, and I made one with a circle in it. And then I was like, you know what? I really think I need to make some hearts. So then I made some granny square hearts, and I thought those would be really cute to add in. And I made 17 of them. And if you don't know Laura with Mad Mimi's Crochet, she put out a challenge to everyone that if you, well, this is what she did. She took one skein of yarn and she said, I'm going to make however many granny squares that I can make with this one skein of yarn. Well, it happened to be 17. So she put out into the world a challenge. If you make 17 granny squares and send them to Lynette, and you say, oh, she was double duck daring you. So if you send it to Lynette and you say, I got double duck dared by Laura at Mad Mimi's Crochet, quack, quack, then Laura has to make more squares. I think 3 for every 17 you make. She'll make 3 more squares, but if you say quack, quack, she might make more. Oh, there's another thing you need to know about Laura. She does not like making granny squares. So that was a good challenge. And also our other Alaskan friend, y'all, Jan at the Alaskan Crafter, Ann Alaskan Crafter. She put out a challenge also, but it was for this month of September. So I'm very sorry I'm getting this news out late to you. But anyway, I wanted to tell you about it anyway because she's just that wonderful. She put out a challenge to make a blanket. It was a stained glass pattern. But she had like 4 or 5 to choose from. I think some were from Bag O' Day, some from Fiber Spider. And that if you made a stained glass pattern Boggy Creek blanket and finished it by the end of September and sent her a picture, that she is going to draw a prize for, I think, a $50 gift card or something. I will have her link down below because there's still time to get in on it if you really want to. And so that was great that Jan's trying to like boost it along and trying to get people more involved, putting these challenges out there. So that was great. And oh, you should see some of them. I've seen some because quite a few of my Zoom sisters are doing them. They're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous. I myself do not have the time for that. But anyway, but they are beautiful, and I love that Jan did that. So kudos to you, my sister. And so one of our other Yarny sisters, Jennifer over at Cinnamon Stitches, I call her my sweet little cinnamon bun. Lately, I've just been shortening it to bun because too much to type. So, hey, bun. She put out a tutorial, y'all, for Boggy Creek blanket tutorial. So if you want to follow along with her, and it's a cowl, I believe. I started watching the video, and then she started the tutorial, and I haven't, then work got in the way, so I haven't gone back to it, but I am going to make that blanket. but I had already started one. And this is just simply a, this is a blanket yarn, Bernat blanket yarn that I had in my stash. And I'm thinking it's probably going to take maybe four balls of blanket yarn to get the size needed. Oh, that's another thing. These are size specific. I believe it's no wider than 40, so they want it to be 35 to 40 inches wide and 45 to 50 inches long. So that's just the best size that works out for all the kids that go there, and they don't want them too big. If they do happen to get some that's too big, Nancy said, don't worry. They said they don't go to waste. They use them for all the parents, the staff, the doctors and nurses that come volunteer their time. Everybody gets a blanket. So, yeah, don't worry too much, but please just try to make them the right size for the kids, because that's what's most important, is for them to get one to take home. They get to take it home with them. So I have that one started, and then when I finish that one, I'll start on Jen's tutorial. And then so y'all don't forget to go check out Crafty Floridian's channel on Wednesday nights for the Boggy Creek Lives. And also Nancy and Lynette do updates and talk about stuff all the time referring to Boggy Creek on their channels. Not to mention they have all kinds of other yummy goodness to talk about. And LYNANNE at Nita's Knots Crochet, if you'd like to send her a granny square or two, or maybe 17, and keep her working, putting blankets together for the kids. They are coming out adorable. She keeps showing all the squares that come in, and then she shows when she finishes a blanket. And I mean, they're just great. They're phenomenal. I love them. So she's doing a great job there. So if you'd like to do your part and send in a granny square or even a whole blanket, all blankets go to Nancy in Florida at She's Got Yarn Too. She'll be linked down below, and then you can get all her information off of her channel as to where to mail the blankets to. And LYNANNE, you'll get her information where to mail the granny squares to. And check out Jennifer's tutorial, Jan's stained glass with Alaskan Crafter, her blanket challenge, and let's get Laura making some more granny squares. So yeah, I think that was it. That's all I had to say about that. So thanks y'all for sticking around and listening to all the info that I have to share about Boggy Creek. And don't forget to check out my girls, Nancy, Lynette, and Billie. And I will see you next time. Be blessed.